Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This is your host, Rising Oblivion. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about some domain names that Atlus has been using and keeping up for quite a while, and some brand new domain names. If you don't know what domain names are, those are basically just names that they're sort of copywriting and keeping so that they could use that for further projects within the future. We have seen this before be released games like Persona Q and Q2 as well, so this has helped us understand in the future games that they may or may not have been making. That's the thing about domain names. We're not 100% for sure that this is going to end up being a game for sure, but we do a lot of times know that this at least means they are working on some type of project or they are thinking about working on this. So let's go ahead and dive into some of these domain names. So there are ones that they have been working on or keeping and maintaining since April 2017. And some of the ones that they have been keeping up with is something called, Persona 8, Persona 9, and Persona 10. So the reason why I think they're later domain names is because I think the other ones they've already sort of secured. They've already secured 6 and 7, I imagine, because they know for sure they're doing that. But now they have Persona 8, Persona 9, and Persona 10 sort of locked in. They own those domain names, which means that that's sort of for them. And we don't know for sure, like I said, the domain names. It doesn't exactly mean that it's going to be something that they are going to be keeping forever or something that they are going to be using exactly. They could very easily change up the names or have it be called something different or whatever, but Persona 8, Persona 9, and Persona 10. So there could be a chance for that to be there. They at least plan on keeping the names for that stuff, so that does give it a very good chance of being something they might do in the future. So another thing here is something called P5U. And I know a lot of people are sort of speculative about this one because we have been talking about here in the community a Arena Ultimax game, similar to what we had with P4. And if you had the Arena Ultimax on Steam and everything else that just came out recently, it's basically supposed to be something like that. And a lot of people have been kind of wondering, where is the Persona 5 version of a fighting game? Well, we should notice something here, that the P5U is exactly like what it is for P4U, and we don't exactly have to tie in the AU part or the Arena Ultimax part. Whenever it was initialized in the Japanese version, it was just called P4U. Persona 4 Ultimax, P5 Ultimax. At least what we know is that they've kept those domain names. Whether or not they keep that, it doesn't matter exactly, because we know that they at least might be working on a fighting games when it comes to Persona 5. This could also just mean Persona 5 Ultimate, which might just be something like, I don't know, a PS5 release or something like that, or them putting it on something like Switch. And I imagine when it means Ultimate is not just a potential port for it for like the PS5 or Switch or whatever. And I'm not trying to port beg, I'm just being speculative here. I know a lot of people are gonna give me some flack or give me some fire for it, but let's just look at all avenues that this could possibly be. And that it being Ultimate doesn't just mean that it might be a port, but it could also mean that it's something else, meaning it could be something like, a completely bundled up version. There's a lot of DLC for Royal. If you bought Royal, you got all of base P5's DLC, but Royal has a lot of DLC as well, like going and fighting the, going and fighting you and floating Makoto from P3 and P4. So a P5U might simply just be something like Persona 5 Ultimate, where it just includes all of the Royal DLC as long as everything else as well within the base P5. So you're basically just getting all stuff Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal bundled into one game. That would be good. I think it's more leaning towards it being the arena fighting game, seeing as how P4U was exactly the same way. Then just calling it Persona 5 Ultimate. Watch it actually be the name. I don't think sounds super good. I mean, they try to be a little bit more extravagant, Persona 4 Golden, Persona 5 Royal. They usually typically try to find a name that sort of fits more, and just calling it Ultimate might not be the best, but it seems like this is leaning more towards it being the arena fighting game, so let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's see what they do in the future. There are a couple other domain names I would like to talk about too that they have not renewed or suspended since December 31st, 2021, and they have been around since October 2018, and that is something that is called P5B, which we don't know exactly what that's going to be, and there's also another one called P5M. We don't know if those are going to be something that they turn into projects later, or what it's supposed to mean exactly. P5B, I don't even know what that acronym might be, but P5M, Persona 5 Music, maybe, I don't know, they already have the dancing game, so it doesn't quite make sense for that to be there, so who really knows? Those are basically some other domain names. It looks like P5 still has a chance to have a couple more spin-offs, at least when it comes to the whole livelihood of Persona 5. Just seeing from how many different domain names, like I said, doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be a game. That does mean that they had worked on something, or they were planning to have it at least be something they could do in the future. So there are chances that they were potentially working on this stuff because they decided to have domain names. Maybe they switched the domain name. Maybe the P5M was supposed to be something like Persona 5 Musical. Maybe that was supposed to be what, I don't know. Maybe that was supposed to be what the dancing game was called. Who really knows? They could just be old domain names that they just sort of kept around just in case they ever thought about doing something else. Royal doesn't have the songs in a dancing game, so there could be potential to see maybe a DLC or a better Persona 5 dancing type of game. So that also could be something that we see. P5B could be like P5 Battles or something like that. We're going to have to wait and see. There is potential to see other stuff within the future. There's also one more domain name I would like to talk about, and that is the P5AG, which people thought was supposed to actually mean action game or Akechi Goro, which does have some validity, I guess, within the community, because people thought that there was actually going to be a Goro Akechi game. So the fact that that was there is interesting, because we don't exactly know, like, do they still have plans or not? We don't know what P5AG was supposed to mean, or if they're continuing with it or not. It's kind of hard to say. The domain names are different. The rhythm games also apparently had some different stuff as well. And this P5AG has actually been something that they've registered since 2017 and have maintained until now, which means potentially this could be something they've been working on for quite a while. Just because they registered the name in 2017 doesn't mean that they haven't been working on it for quite some time. So P5AG could be something completely different. Apparently they also had another one called 13C, but we don't really know. It could be possible that it's actually not even related to Atlus or any other way, but we also know that the rhythm games as well have been maintaining their stuff as well from this report. So we have some information here about P5, at least 3 or 4 different domain names that have been registered for Persona 5, or we assume to be P5. I mean, that seems to be like the only other thing Atlus really could be having when it comes to that domain name exactly, but we'll have to see, because it seems like there is a lot there. Calling the game Akechi Goro, I think a lot of people would assume that that wouldn't be the name just based off of how that kind of sounds, but we'll have to wait and see. The domain name might just be a placeholder name. We don't really know. Like I said, the Persona 8.1, Persona 9, and Persona 10, it's just the name of the game and then a number. And with P3, we have seen, FES at the end of that. We've seen Golden at the end of 4, Royal, and then the Persona 2 Duology also had subtitle names. So again, they could be somewhat type of like placeholder names until maybe they decide to do something later. I don't think they have plans for Persona 10 this far in, but they decided just to go ahead and grab the domain name for that. So you're going to have to take a lot of this with a grain of salt, but I would be a betting man to assume that we have at least another P5 spinoff down the pipeline. I would assume, just based off of how much they've been working on this stuff, how much P5 has still been on live, how many domain names they have kept and switched up. It definitely seems like something is still going on when it comes to, P5. I mean, there still has to be some more things going on there when it comes to that. But I think that's going to be it for this video, guys. Like, comment, subscribe for more content. As always, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching.